Nina by Blag, Dahlia. Chapter 13. Suffer the Ignorant. "I'll have a pack of Starburst, the sweet tarts, and some double mint gum," Nina said to Nadir Abbas. His look of complete bewilderment was tempered with a kind of inward tranquility that came from years of quiet contemplation and a profound lack of imagination. Nadir had immigrated to the United States and settled in San Francisco because his family had felt that would be best for their well-meaning, intelligent, but rather inept son. Educated as a particle physicist in his native land, he was almost equal to the task of selling unhealthy snack foods to America's poor and indigent, but not quite. "Double mint, not spearmint," Nina said, amazed as always that even the simplest things had to be hard. As she turned to leave, two men with stockings over their faces entered the liquor store, handguns drawn. Nina received a hard smack to her left cheek that sent her flying into a quavering pyramid of Dinty Moore beef stew cans that clattered to the ground, taking her with them. She might have lost consciousness, but only for a moment, and it wasn't half bad. "I am very poor," said Nadir. "Very, very poor." He opened the cash register to show the thieves just how poor he was, but they weren't interested. To show the true depth of their disinterest, one of the men struck him on the jaw with the butt of his gun, and Nadir slipped, unconscious and miserable, to the floor of his shop. The two men immediately made their way to the back of the store, where they knew the shopkeeper's safe hung behind a framed portrait of the prophet. "Let's blow this shit," said the taller of the masked men, Chewy Quintero, to his shorter accomplice, Wayne Wygant. The pair had first met in the San Francisco County Jail. It was a structure that bore little similarity to the Coit Tower or Golden Gate Bridge, but many more people visited it each year, looking for they knew not what. Wayne had waded into a group of Mexicans stomping what he was sure was a fellow Aryan brother. When the dust had cleared, it was revealed that the victim was actually another Mexican who couldn't speak Spanish and had an enormous Slayer tattoo on his forehead. The two became fast friends. They celebrated their release by getting drunk, shaving their heads, and buying two loaded weapons from Chewy's cousin Jaime. Jaime, who had lost the use of his legs in a drive-by shooting, had also supplied the stick-up men with plastic explosives to blow the safe that hung in the back of a liquor store that he knew of across town. He had explained that the setup was perfect because the place was usually empty, and the dreamy-eyed owner was so oblivious that local 10-year-olds routinely beat him out of candy, snacks, and comics. "Even you two dipshits couldn't miss," he said, and after just 4 hours of freedom, Wayne and Chewy could hardly believe their luck. Nina remained on the floor, surrounded by canned goods, and kept quiet. She wanted to get up and run, but she didn't want to get shot, smacked, or molested by these unpredictable urban misfits. Nadir was still behind the counter, bleeding freely and dreaming dreams of plump young girls in filmy harem costumes. Outside, traffic blew by in the hot, dusty street. A drunk shook his fist at the wheezing exhaust pipes of a passing car that didn't care if he was breathing or not. In the back of the shop, the would-be safecrackers struggled with the plastic explosives. Chewy and Wayne had had a few shots of tequila to calm their nerves before the heist. Then they'd gotten some airplane glue and a can of rug cleaner, and now Chewy couldn't remember what Jaime had told him about how much of the explosives to use. He figured better safe than sorry and just stuffed the whole wad by the metal handle that jutted out like a middle finger from the front of the locked metal box. The explosion was deafening. Nadir Abbas awoke from his reverie, sure that he was dead, and resolved to stay behind the counter until Allah himself told him that it was all right to move again. Nina got up and headed for the door, ambivalent now at the prospect of continued survival. A deep groan from the back room made her turn around in the doorway of the liquor store. Another groan convinced her that they couldn't do her any more harm than they had already done to themselves. The grisly tableau in the back of the store reminded Nina of a documentary she'd seen on the History Channel once about Hitler's bunker. Chewy Quintero lay dead, his entire head blown off by the force of the blast. Wayne Wygant, always a day late and $3 short, still clung to life like a pawn surrounded by kings, queens, and bishops, eager to end the charade once and for all. In his death throes, his head bleeding freely, his tongue lolling out of his head, he spied Nina and thought that a dark angel had come to escort him personally to the great beyond. He reached out with what was left of his right hand. Nina realized that she was out of danger and resolved to get back into it as quickly as possible. She reached into Wayne Wygant's pants and extracted his penis, a rather large and healthy specimen, his only source of pride in a life that mainly consisted of doing stupid things and getting caught for them. Nina began to stroke Wayne, all the while looking in his eyes as if to say, "I understand." She didn't, though. She could no more understand the mind of a loser than how to fix a jet engine or perform a root canal. No matter. As she jerked, he got harder, as even a man in his last shuddering spasms of life will do when confronted with an attractive woman in an unprovoked sex act. He exhaled, smiled, gurgled pathetically, and when he came, he went. Nina reached into the safe that swung open with a satisfying creak. She removed 12 neat bundles of cash and put them into her black vinyl purse as she heard the whine of sirens off in the distance. As she left the store, she also took a pack of Starburst fruit chews, some sweet tarts, and a pack of double mint gum. 1 week later, Nadir Abbas returned to his native land, only to find that it was now a wholly owned subsidiary of the United States of America.